Chapter 3.6 Time Signature and Time Value Studies. Now, this is a little bit of review with a little bit of new. You'll notice here that time signature, as we discussed before, the top number tells us how many beats fill a measure. The lower number tells us the kind of note that gets one beat. Or an easier way to think of it, how many and what type. Now, that is pretty good, a generalization of that. But let's go through some of these time signatures, more advanced ones. 2/4, of course, means that you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And each beat gets a quarter note, as so. 3/4, how many? 3, what type? Quarter. 3 beats, 1 quarter. 4/4 is also known as common time. It means 4 beats per measure, and each beat is the quality of a quarter note, or 4 quarter notes. The quarter note getting 1 beat. 3/8 is an interesting signature that you will see, consisting of how many, what type, how many, 3 beats per measure, what type, 3 eighth notes. Eighth notes gets 1 beat. 4/8 is not too far off from there. How many, what type? 4 beats in a measure. Eighth notes is the type of beat. 4/8 would be 4 eighth notes. And let's take that one for example. If we don't believe they have 4/8 on here, maybe we can try it with 6/8. With 6/8, we have 6 eighth notes in one measure, meaning the eighth note gets 1 beat. And that one is also, I want to show you an example of how it's counted differently. As opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as shown by playing the beats as so. See? There's an example of how, if you saw all of those eighths counting as 1 beat, right? And 6/8. You can also think of it as 6/8 counting in dotted quarter notes. See, if I run this through again and do 1, 2, 1, 2, you can also count 6/8 as 2/4, except instead of 2/4 being a quarter note, it's a dotted quarter note, or the equivalent to 3 eighth notes for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Watch how that works when I do the counting again, like this, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how it's now? See, like that? It's how those were dotted quarter notes. Say we have, let's see what else they allow us to work with here. 7/4, 7 quarter notes. I'm sure you get the idea. See, once you understand the basics of time signature, it will really help you to kind of understand all of these other ones. Here, what about, I don't see any 4/2. I do see 2/4 and 2/2. So 4/2, how many, what type? Means 4 beats, what type? Half notes. 2 meaning half note, like this. 2, each beat is a half note. So 4/2 would mean the total counts in a measure, since it's 4 half notes, would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because it's 4 half notes, right? And 2/2 means 2 beats in a measure, but the half note gets 1 beat. So 2 half notes for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. Interestingly enough, notice how 4/4, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 beats, and 4/4 with quarter notes, 4 quarter notes, is the same thing as 2/2, even numerically. If you think of it as fractions, divide by 2 into both of these, it simplifies into 2/2, right? Except because time signature is how many and what type, even though it's still 4 beats, the beats have to be subdivided as half notes, or they're thought of as subdivided as half notes, even though they can add up to be whatever will match up to 2 half notes. Let me show you a quick example of how that works. I've changed the meter to 2-2. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. As opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4. See, like this. Here, let me see that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that works? And let's say, for example, I take 2-2, except I do quarter note rhythms, subdividing into it a little bit differently. See how it's still evenly subdivided, like that. It's still 4 beats, except it's 2-2. So you're thinking of it as 2 half notes, even though it's the exact same thing. You'll see that sometimes in different key signatures, but make sure you tailor to what's written here and understand that it is this note that's getting 1 beat, or that versus another note that's getting 1 beat. That will help in understanding more about time signatures. So understand that these are not the only time signatures you're limited to. There are many more combinations not listed here, as well as not even listed here, and all the way up to even 15/8. See, and the more beats you have to work with, the more combinations of notes you will have that you'll be able to work with as well. And you'll be able to notice a lot of similarities. And remember, dots and ties will also change how you can approach the rhythms from every one of those different keys and time signatures.